I want to bring in the meantime, political strategist Yaron Finkelstein, who served as advisor to Scott Morrison during his prime ministership. Good to see you. There's plenty that has happened this week. Yaron, first of all, this stunning uncovering of the links between Iran and attacks, anti-Semitic attacks here in Australia. There's been criticism on the Labor government for acting too slowly on this. What's your take?
Oh, look, you can understand why the opposition's gone to that issue, but really what it does, this is quite a pivotal moment in understanding what the future threat is. It's a way to ask a question. What else have they been doing? I think that's where the opposition would have much more fertile ground to start casting aspersions on a lot of the activities we've seen and the ones we're going to no doubt see, because foreign actors are trying to create conflict or tension within the Australian community. It's a serious issue. If you think back now, we start asking questions. We saw a lot of issues on campuses, for example. I mean, you don't have to be a outdoor camping enthusiast to wonder why suddenly, spontaneously, there were 500 tents, all of the same colour, appearing on campuses as part of these sit-ins. There's a lot of questions to be asked. What else were they up to? What else are they doing? And what will be the consequence for social cohesion in this country? That's probably the way Australians will be thinking about it. What else have they been doing? And what should I be concerned about?
I mean, is this at all a surprise to you when you were in government, when you were reading these briefings? Was this the kind of thing happening?
So imagine this. They're not just interested in picking a side when they want to play games in domestic on domestic issues. They're also trying to create that tension. They're actually hyper-intensifying the debates. So social media is a very easy way for foreign actors to create tension in the Australian community. It's something we all now have to think back on and say, well, how are we going to make sure that we aren't being manipulated? Because that's essentially what they're trying to do. And if you were trying to think about the future, what else could they be manipulating in the sense of creating tension in public debates? We Australians do not like foreign conflicts brought onto our shores. And that is precisely what these players are doing. Iran has done it very well, and we need to be on the lookout for everything in the future as to what might fit into their game plan.
Absolutely. We haven't spoken about the productivity roundtable as well. Most of this was behind closed doors, the coalition criticising this meeting for not really coming up with anything concrete. But I do think it was a good first step. And I think perhaps what happened behind closed doors and not anything or not much has leaked out. What does that tell you on the optics of it? Does that tell us that perhaps there is a little bit of conformity, solidarity in getting things done, and then the consensus building will start?
I think that's a really good way to put it. I think this is so serious that people are doing what's right for the country. And even Penny Wong today, I'm sure the Australian Jewish community would agree with her that she says this is not over. This does not, it's not a magic bullet to end anti-Semitism in Australia. So I think you're seeing leadership for the first time in a while on this issue, good, clear leadership. And the Americans have acknowledged that as well. And we're going to need a lot more of that if we're going to get through this in a united, cohesive way as Australians want to get through it.
Indeed. I think perhaps you didn't hear part of my question there. I was asking about the productivity roundtable as well. You're on about, not having much detail out of, what economic reform we're going to get this term or what mandate this government might seek. Do you have glass half full or glass half empty approach on that after that roundtable?
Well, I have to say it does feel like a mixed bag. I think the government will struggle to stitch together a constituency amongst what might be described as elites at that table, your industry associations, your union reps, etc. But the harder challenge is, of course, persuading Australians. Why are you reforming something? Why are you changing it? There's just so much work. Look, the one thing they have is quite a few seats up their sleeve, and they could do what John Howard did and spend that political capital. Are they brave enough? And that, as you know, is the big question, and that's specifically a question put to Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese, who probably have different views about what bravery looks like.
What do you think of the coalition's performance thus far? It's pretty tough for Susan Lee, but I mean, if we could go to question time, they're not landing many blows. No, this is true, but it isn't easy for them. And look, as we've talked about before, question time is a very small arena. Yes, it matters. Some optics, the gallery is quite interested in what goes on there, but it's the bigger issue is how are they going to connect with Australians? They've got a big job to do to be relevant to how Australians want to be governed and what solutions you're bringing to their lives, and that's the bigger issue. So, look, it's tough, but let's put, in a sense, politics aside, and are they getting to connect with voters? That's the real challenge.